The story begins with a girl named Zhao Tiao, who suddenly sees the boy she hadn't been able to forget for 4 years standing right in front of her. The Xuan Ao she had known in school, once a sweet and straightforward boy, had now become a mature and cold person. Zhao Tiao gathered her courage and tried to approach him, but Xuan Ao didn't even look her way. They passed by each other without exchanging a word, yet Zhao Tiao still felt a deep pain in her heart. When she turned around, she saw a blonde girl running towards Xuan Ao and hugging him tightly. After 4 years, Zhao Tiao discovered that Xuan Ao had a new girlfriend, and her heart completely shattered. 4 years ago, Xuan Ao, who was rude and quite handsome boy, had transferred to Zhao Tiao's school. As soon as he arrived, he became the first crush of all the girls, and they were all crazy about him. But there was only one girl who wasn't attracted to him, and that was Zhao Tiao. Zhao Tiao had lost her parents when she was a child and lived with her aunt. She was the poorest girl in school, so to save money, she never went to the canteen. Every day she survived on just a small rice ball, and whenever teachers asked, she would say she was dieting. Despite her poverty and self-respect, she somehow caught the attention of Xuan Ao, a rich boy. Xuan Ao kept staring at her, an odd smile on his lips. Zhao Tiao thought to herself, this guy's really handsome, but maybe he's a little crazy. She had no idea that Xuan Ao had seen her somewhere before. Yesterday at the bus stop, Xuan Ao had noticed Zhao Tiao and started liking her from that moment. Around the same time, a new app called Love Alarm had taken over the school. The app had a simple rule. If 2 people liked each other, their love alarm would ring. The more people liked someone, the more heart symbols would appear in the sky above them. That day, the most beautiful girl in school, Jumei, was deliberately waiting for Xuan Ao. As soon as he appeared, she turned on her love alarm. The moment Xuan Ao walked in, all the girls in school went crazy, and as he came closer, Jumei's love alarm rang. The other students assumed that Jumei and Xuan Ao would become a couple, but to their surprise, Xuan Ao walked right past her without even looking. After he left, Jumei was shocked to see that the one who truly liked her was none other than a strange, skinny, and short boy named Daeju. Jumei thought, how could someone like him be worthy of me? The students started shouting, and Jumei felt incredibly embarrassed. She rushed to the washroom, but Daeju remained standing there because his love alarm kept ringing continuously. Later, Daeju sent Jumei a message saying that he had a gift he wanted to give her. Jumei despised Daeju and refused to leave the washroom until she was sure he had gone. But what Jumei didn't know was that the creator of the Love Alarm app was none other than Daeju himself, and he had made the app only to confess his feelings to her. During the class break, Xuan Yao was talking with his friend Hui Yong. Just then, someone from the ground shouted Zhao Tiao's name. Both of them turned around and saw a boy giving snacks to Zhao Tiao. Xuan Yao noticed that Hui Yong was looking at Zhao Tiao in a strange way. He immediately realized that Hui Yong also liked Zhao Tiao. After school, Xuan Yao told his driver to follow Zhao Tiao. Hui Yong denied having feelings for her, but Xuan Yao had already figured out the truth. Together, they followed Zhao Tiao and reached her house. Hui Yong finally confessed. Zhao Tiao had a boyfriend, and he was the same boy who had given her snacks during the break. That's why Hui Yong had never expressed his feelings. But Xuan Yao, who had just returned from abroad, had a completely different way of thinking. According to him, just having a boyfriend didn't necessarily mean that Zhao Tiao truly loved him. That night, while watching TV with her aunt, Zhao Tiao received a message from her boyfriend. He said they should go to an internet cafe together the next day. However, Zhao Tiao had both a part-time job and extra classes, so she didn't have time. But instead of understanding, her boyfriend kept insisting that she should skip everything and go with him. The next day, after school, Xuan Yao was about to go home, but suddenly he decided to sit back in his seat. He noticed that Zhao Tiao's boyfriend was looking for her. Later, Xuan Yao took Zhao Tiao to a deserted alley and said something strange. Annoyed, Zhao Tiao started to leave, but Xuan Yao stopped her and asked where she was going. She replied that she was heading to her job and added that rich people like him could never understand the struggles of poor people. Xuan Yao felt a little sad. He said that no matter how wealthy his family was, he didn't like them. Zhao Tiao then revealed that she had no parents, which was why she worked to support herself. For a moment, both of them were silent. Then, out of nowhere, Xuan Yao told Zhao Tiao that he wanted to kiss her. Being experienced in such things, he slowly reached for her face, but Zhao Tiao forcefully pushed him away. She shouted, "If my boyfriend finds out, he'll beat you up badly." Xuan Yao laughed and said, "Let him." Saying this, he pulled Zhao Tiao in and kissed her forcefully. That night, when Zhao Tiao arrived at her job, her aunt was furious. She scolded, "Because you were late, the shop suffered a loss of 90,000 won." Zhao Tiao immediately apologized and promised to work extra on the weekend. But her aunt grew even angrier and pulled out an old file of Zhao Tiao's mother's debt, scolding her even more. Meanwhile, when Xuan Yao got home, he ran into Hui Yong. Hui Yong was the son of one of the family's servants and had been Xuan Yao's best friend since childhood. However, Xuan Yao felt a bit hesitant because today he had kissed Hui Yong's crush, Zhao Tiao. Xuan Yao admitted his mistake, but Hui Yong said nothing. Without a word, he simply walked away. The next day at school, Zhao Tiao deliberately tried to avoid Xuan Yao. Until the class bell didn't ring, she kept hiding in different corners of the school. When the bell rang, she quickly ran toward the music room, but near the stairs, Xuan Yao caught her. Xuan Yao asked for her phone number, but out of embarrassment, Zhao Tiao ran away. Xuan Yao became happy with this because at least he touched Zhao Tiao's hand. During school dismissal, Meanwhile, suddenly, Zhao Tiao's boyfriend entered Xuan Yao's class because someone had leaked the photo of Xuan Yao and Zhao Tiao's kiss. Due to this, Zhao Tiao's boyfriend got angry and directly started hitting Xuan Yao. When Hui Yong found out about this, he immediately ran toward the class. During this, Xuan Yao started taking the beating without responding. He had already decided that he had to bear the punishment for his mistake. Hui Yong arrived on time, but Xuan Yao stopped him and told him not to interfere. Hui Yong couldn't see his best friend getting beaten up, so in the end, he also jumped in, and both of them got beaten up together. After the beating, Xuan Yao asked Hui Yong whether he also liked Zhao Tiao. Hui Yong still denied it, but Xuan Yao knew the truth. At that time, Zhao Tiao also received the video of her boyfriend and Xuan Yao's fight. That's why she immediately ran to meet her boyfriend. When she got close to her boyfriend, she opened the love alarm app and activated it. Then she found out that her boyfriend didn't love Zhao Tiao. His love alarm didn't activate at all. Zhao Tiao's boyfriend thought he loved her, but in reality, it was just friendship. What he was considering as feelings was only an attachment of friendship, not true love. The next day at school, everyone was gossiping about Zhao Tiao and Xuan Yao. Due to this, her cousin Ju Mei was very angry, and she threw Zhao Tiao's phone on the ground, breaking it. Because Ju Mei thought that only because she was a professional trainee, she was the only one worthy of Xuan Yao, and a normal girl like Zhao Tiao couldn't snatch her love. Due to this, she started fighting with Zhao Tiao. But at the right time, the class teacher arrived and separated both of them. When Zhao Tiao came back to class, her classmates were gossiping about her. Not only the classmates, but even her best friend turned against her, because everyone thought that she deliberately trapped Xuan Yao and snatched Ju Mei's favorite guy. The reason why Zhao Tiao felt very sad. But in the meantime, Xuan Yao came there and held Zhao Tiao's hand in front of everyone and took her with him. But Zhao Tiao instead questioned him, "Did you send those photos?" Hearing this, Xuan Yao felt very bad. Meanwhile, Zhao Tiao opened her phone and saw that her love alarm did not ring. This meant that Xuan Yao did not like her, and maybe he was just playing with her. Thinking this, Zhao Tiao started to leave, but Xuan Yao immediately stopped her and began to explain that he had not yet activated his love alarm. He decided to take Zhao Tiao to an empty gym room and tell her the truth, but he didn't know that his childhood friend Hui Yong was also standing nearby. Hui Yong had always liked Zhao Tiao, and now he wanted to know the truth. And the truth was that Xuan Yao liked Zhao Tiao. When Xuan Yao saw Hui Yong, he realized that his friend must be in pain, so he immediately ran after him. But Hui Yong suppressed his pain and smiled while congratulating Xuan Yao. During lunch, Xuan Yao mistakenly extended his hand toward Ju Mei. Ju Mei, who always thought about Xuan Yao, assumed that Xuan Yao liked her, but Xuan Yao was only there to get Zhao Tiao's number. Because of this, Ju Mei became even angrier. On the other hand, Xuan Yao wanted to talk to Zhao Tiao in a corner, but Zhao Tiao thought he would try to kiss her again, so she pushed him away and ran off. When Zhao Tiao broke up with her boyfriend, her best friend was very happy. She had always liked Zhao Tiao's ex-boyfriend, but the guy didn't like this at all and angrily said, "If you hadn't uploaded those photos online, Zhao Tiao and I would have never broken up." At night, while Zhao Tiao was working at her part-time job, she saw small wounds on Xuan Yao's face. Xuan Yao missed her so much that he deliberately found an excuse to come there. His assistant, without thinking, told a waiter, "Zhao Tiao, bring a bottle of water." But Xuan Yao got angry for no reason. His assistant was confused about why Xuan Yao was so upset, but he said nothing and went to get the water himself. When Zhao Tiao's duty was over, she saw that Xuan Yao was still waiting for her. He was following her like a small puppy. Xuan Yao wanted her to prove her true love through her love alarm, but Zhao Tiao intentionally did not turn on her alarm. Xuan Yao felt sad. But when a handsome guy complains so lovingly, how can anyone refuse? Finally, Zhao Tiao turned on her love alarm. As soon as both alarms rang, Xuan Yao started jumping in joy like a little kid. When someone you secretly like also likes you back, it's the most beautiful thing in the world. Xuan Yao was so happy that he immediately took a selfie. Now that they were officially a couple, Xuan Yao became a completely soft-hearted person, sending abs photos during school and holding hands after school. These things had also started between them. But while they were walking, Xuan Yao noticed that Zhao Tiao was talking about her favorite star, which made him feel jealous. Suddenly, he stopped Zhao Tiao and hugged her lovingly so that she wouldn't think about anyone else besides him. The next morning, Xuan Yao was very excited and wanted to go to school early just to see Zhao Tiao. Meanwhile, Hui Yong was riding his bicycle to school, and as soon as he saw Zhao Tiao, he immediately hit the brakes and fell along with his bike. His hand got injured, and when he opened his love alarm, he felt disheartened seeing a 0 on the screen. Zhao Tiao was walking through the school corridor when she suddenly heard her love alarm ringing. She looked around happily, thinking that Xuan Yao must be nearby. So she started looking for him, but as soon as she opened the door to the medical room, she was shocked because her love alarm was ringing because of Hui Yong. At that moment, Xuan Yao was also approaching, so Hui Yong quickly pulled Zhao Tiao inside and hid her behind the curtains to prevent Xuan Yao from misunderstanding. But while hiding, Zhao Tiao's heart was beating so fast that she felt like it would jump into her throat because now she understood. Hui Yong also liked her, but he didn't want to ruin their friendship. So Hui Yong uninstalled his love alarm and buried his feelings for Zhao Tiao deep in his heart. The next day at school, when Zhao Tiao entered her classroom, the teacher gave her a lunch card. Seeing this, Zhao Zhao Qiao was very happy because now she had her own cafeteria card for lunch. But her cousin Jiu Mei expressed her hatred toward her. Zhao Tiao looked at her friend, who was laughing with some students, but she deliberately ignored Zhao Tiao. So Zhao Tiao quietly sat next to another student. However, Xuan Yao, who was sitting nearby, didn't like this. He also came and sat beside her. Like a good boyfriend, he started giving Zhao Tiao food. But the more he cared for her, the more tension Zhao Tiao felt. In the evening, when Zhao Tiao returned home, she found out from her cousin that Xuan Yao had paid for her lunch fee. The moment she heard this, Zhao Tiao felt very sad. It made her feel like she wasn't worthy of Xuan Yao. But Xuan Yao couldn't tolerate others insulting his beloved Zhao Tiao. When he found out the truth, he became furious. He immediately searched for Jiu Mei, who was spreading the false rumors. Jiu Mei claimed that she only wanted the best for Xuan Yao, and with that, she confessed her love for him. However, Xuan Yao didn't listen to her and started walking away. He knew very well that Jiu Mei's love wasn't real. She was only interested in his family's wealth. When Jiu Mei's true face was exposed in front of everyone, she left angrily. At that moment, Zhao Qiao also arrived, and Xuan Yao, correcting himself, apologized to her. He admitted that he shouldn't have secretly paid for her lunch. Zhao Tiao understood that he had done it only for her well-being. After this incident, their bond grew even stronger. That evening, when Zhao Tiao returned home, she saw that Jiu Mei was now planning to take revenge on Xuan Yao. Without thinking twice, Zhao Tiao snatched her phone away. Furious, Jiu Mei started fighting with her. Zhao Tiao considered fighting back, but just then her aunt arrived and, instead of scolding Jiu Mei, started yelling at Zhao Tiao instead. In the end, she was thrown out of the house. Now homeless, Zhao Tiao broke down in tears. But when she lifted her head, she saw Xuan Yao standing right in front of her. Seeing him, all her pain vanished in an instant. Now that they had officially become a couple, they decided to go on a vacation together and headed to Jizhou Island. There, they had a great time exploring and enjoying themselves. That evening, Zhao Tiao thought of resting in her room, but when she entered, she saw some students relaxing after dinner. A while later, she suddenly woke up to the smell of smoke. The room had caught fire because of the candles. Panic spread, and students started running in different directions. As soon as Zhao Tiao saw the fire, old memories came rushing back to her. When she was just 9 years old, she had witnessed her parents lighting a coal stove to take their own lives, locking all the doors behind them. By some twist of fate, Zhao Tiao had survived that tragic incident, but the horrifying memory had stayed with her forever. In a panic, she started banging on the windows, trying desperately to open them. Only when she finally got some fresh air did she calm down. Soon, teachers and classmates arrived at the scene, but instead of staying there, Zhao Tiao ran outside. The moment she saw Xuan Yao, she dashed toward him and hugged him tightly, feeling safe in his arms. Wanting to make her feel better, Xuan Yao took her on a ride along the seaside on his little scooter. They spent the entire night sitting by the ocean, lost in each other's company. The next morning, as Xuan Yao was taking Zhao Tiao back home, she admired the beautiful blue sea and the vast sky. Feeling the wind rush past her, she couldn't help but smile. Xuan Yao increased the scooter's speed, and for a moment, Zhao Tiao felt as if she were flying in the wind. Laughing, she held onto him tightly, feeling completely at peace. But then, something happened that she had never expected. Suddenly, Xuan Yao's bike collided with a car in an accident. When she saw Xuan Yao struggling, his face was badly injured, and he was unconscious. Seeing this, as she reached out her hand toward him, memories of the time she spent with Xuan Yao started flooding back. Only Xuan Yao's presence mattered, because he was the only one who had filled her sorrowful life with happiness. Luckily, Zhao Tiao wasn't seriously hurt, just some minor scratches. But Xuan Yao was in a very bad condition, and his parents took him to the hospital. After that, Zhao Tiao never got in contact with Xuan Yao again. He had also taken leave from school, but even at such a time, students were still talking about Zhao Tiao. Many people were saying that Zhao Tiao was a disaster, and whoever got close to her ended up facing misfortune. Hearing this, Huiyong became very angry and started hitting that student. But then, his eyes fell on Zhao Tiao, who was standing outside the classroom. That's why he comforted Zhao Tiao and told her that Xuan Yao would be fine, and that she didn't need to worry so much. Saying this, Huiyong gave her Xuan Yao's home address. Because of this, Zhao Tiao started waiting outside Xuan Yao's house every day. She even went to their usual rooftop meeting spot, but she never saw Xuan Yao, nor did she ever receive any reply to her messages. This made Zhao Tiao very sad, but during this time, she met the creator of the love game, Pengui Wine. He didn't want Zhao Tiao to feel the same pain as him, so he gave her a love shield. When she activated the shield, her love bell never rang again. That night, Huiyong decided that he would secretly take Zhao Tiao to meet Xuan Yao when his parents weren't home. But suddenly, Xuan Yao's parents returned, ruining everything. Because of this, both of them hid on one side. However, at that moment, they overheard Xuan Yao's father talking about sending him abroad. Hearing this, Zhao Tiao became very sad. She felt like ever since she entered Xuan Yao's life, everything bad had been happening to him, and now she couldn't put him in any more trouble. That's why Zhao Tiao decided to hide her feelings and leave him. To suppress her emotions, she also activated the Love Shield app so that she would be away from him forever. Zhao Tiao's sudden cold attitude was very difficult for Xuan Yao. He couldn't accept this and started shouting in the canteen. But despite all this, when Zhao Tiao didn't respond, Xuan Yao opened his love app. But what he saw completely shattered his heart. There wasn't a single heart in his app. Seeing this, Xuan Yao's heart broke completely. completely. He kept begging Zhao Tiao to love him again, but Huiyang didn't like seeing this, so he took Zhao Tiao away from there. After this, every day, Xuan Ao stood at the corner of the road waiting for Zhao Tiao, but Zhao Tiao never turned back to look at him again. And just like this, 4 years passed, and this is where the opening scene begins. 4 years later, Zhao Tiao saw Xuan Ao again, but in all these years, he had completely changed, and another girl had entered his life. This was the moment when Zhao Tiao couldn't understand her own heart, and gathering courage, started walking toward Xuan Ao, but Xuan Ao didn't even look at her, and both of them just passed by each other. After that, Xuan Ao took his new girlfriend to see his new store, and lovingly patted her head, but he had never rung his girlfriend Xiao Yu's love bell, which made Xiao Yu very sad. However, she never showed her emotions because, for her, just being with Xuan Ao was enough. On the way, Xiao Yu wanted to eat fish cakes, so she happily went to buy them. Meanwhile, Xuan Ao silently watched her because he knew Xiao Yu truly loved him, but deep inside, his heart still belonged to Zhao Yao. Xiao Yu also knew this, but she never let Xuan Ao find out. Even while driving, seeing high school couples reminded Xuan Ao of the time he spent with Zhao Tiao, and he became emotional. Seeing this, Xiao Yu understood that he still hadn't moved on from his past. On the other side, Zhao Tiao was also secretly stalking Xuan Ao. She checked Xiao Yu's profile and thought that she was perfect for Xuan Ao, but Zhao Tiao didn't know that Xuan Ao was also secretly trying to find out about her life. One day, in the library, Huiyang saw her. Zhao Tiao tried to hide, but Huiyang caught her. This time, Huiyang gathered the courage and openly expressed his love. Because of this, he felt really good inside, as he had been wanting to tell her for the past 4 years. On the other side, Xuan Ao also noticed that his best friend had started liking someone, so out of curiosity, he asked who it was. But when he saw Huiyang's expression, he understood everything. Sometime later, Zhao Tiao finally decided to accept Huiyang and started spending time with him. But when she came home, she saw that Xuan Ao was waiting for her. Xuan Ao activated his love alarm again. Even after 4 years, only Zhao Tiao could make Xuan Ao's love alarm ring. Xuan Ao was sure that Zhao Tiao had never forgotten him either, but once again, Zhao Tiao rejected his love. Xuan Ao couldn't understand. If Zhao Tiao could give Huiyang a chance, then why not him? But even Zhao Tiao herself didn't have an answer to this, and she kept apologizing to Xuan Ao. The next day, a fight broke out between Xuan Ao and Huiyang because Xuan Ao never expected this from his best friend. The next moment, Xiao Yu also arrived there. At the dinner table, Xuan Ao's mother liked Xiao Yu a lot, but Xuan Ao's attitude was completely cold. Seeing this, Xiao Yu felt quite bad. While looking at Xuan Ao's room, Xiao Yu found Xuan Ao's high school graduation certificate, and there was a name written on it, Jin Zhao Tiao. At that moment, she understood everything. This was Xuan Ao's true love. That same day, Xuan Ao and Xiao Yu attended Love Alarm's official event as an ideal couple. Xuan Ao was shocked to see that Zhao Tiao had also come there. Even after 4 years, Xuan Ao triggered Zhao Tiao's love alarm. Xiao Yu looked at Xuan Ao, but her eyes were filled only with disappointment. At that moment, Huiyang also arrived, and he too triggered Zhao Tiao's love alarm. Now, Zhao Tiao was caught between two people's emotions. Meanwhile, Xuan Ao accidentally overheard the conversation between Love Alarm's creator and Zhao Tiao. In that, Zhao Tiao was confessing that 4 years ago she had used a shield to hide her emotions, but now she wanted to break that shield and face her real feelings. Hearing this, Xuan Ao couldn't control his emotions. He grabbed Zhao Tiao's hand and took her away with him, shouting at her in anger. Because 4 years ago he had tried so hard, but after their breakup, he was never able to trigger Zhao Tiao's love alarm. He had thought that Zhao Tiao had stopped loving him, but in reality, Zhao Tiao had used a shield. A small shield had kept them apart for 4 whole years. When this truth came out, Zhao Tiao felt so ashamed that she didn't even have the courage to look at Xuan Ao. So, in anger, Xuan Ao went straight to Love Alarm's creator to demand answers. He asked why he had done all this, as his life's best 4 years had been ruined because of him, but the creator didn't give any answer. So, Xuan Ao decided that he would win Zhao Tiao's heart again. He went straight to her classroom and triggered her love alarm in front of everyone. Seeing this, the whole class was shocked, and everyone started recording videos because no one had imagined that a rich and top-class boy could love a normal girl so much. But even today, Zhao Tiao was afraid of being mocked by people, so she left the classroom without saying anything. At the same time, Huiyang also saw the video and went straight to fight with Xuan Ao. He called Xuan Ao selfish and warned him to stay away from Zhao Tiao. But Xuan Ao still didn't give up and went straight to meet Zhao Tiao. He apologized to her because he had never taken her emotions seriously, but his heart told him that Zhao Tiao still loved him. However, Zhao Tiao directly said that their breakup wasn't because of love alarm, because she didn't want to see Xuan Ao so weak and helpless. So she lied and said that now she loved Huiyang. Hearing this, tears welled up in Xuan Ao's eyes as if someone had broken him from inside. On the other hand, Xiao Yu had recorded Xuan Ao's love confession video. Because of this, she was also very sad and decided to leave the city. But before leaving, she made a decision to help Xuan Ao get his love back. So before leaving, Xiao Yu planned to meet Zhao Tiao one last time. But she was surprised when Xuan Ao also arrived there. As soon as Xuan Ao got out of the car without thinking, he triggered Zhao Tiao's love alarm. Seeing this, Xiao Yu felt even more heartbroken. Just then, Huiyang also arrived, and Zhao Tiao's alarm rang for him, meaning Zhao Tiao really loved Huiyang. Xuan Ao was now completely shattered. That night, only memories of school days ran through his mind. the sweet moments he had spent with Zhao Tiao. His heart was filled with so much pain that tears started falling from his eyes. Seeing this, Huayong, who was standing nearby, couldn't bear it anymore, and he revealed a shocking truth to Xuanao, that Zhao Tiao's love alarm had never rung for him. In reality, the love alarm creator had given her a key with which she could decide for whom her love alarm would ring. Huayong had thought that Zhao Tiao truly liked him, but in reality, Zhao Tiao was just using him as an excuse. After learning this, Xuanao was stunned. He immediately ran to meet Zhao Tiao, and without any delay, he confessed his love once again. But this time, he assured Zhao Tiao that he would never hurt her again, nor let her self-respect be lowered. So this time, Zhao Tiao also accepted him, and once again, they walked through the same school corridors filled with their old memories. But the only difference was, this time, both of them had become more mature. And with this beautiful story came to an end.